What's up, everybody? Welcome to System Crafters Live. I'm David Wilson, and we're back again with another live stream where we get together as a community and talk about whatever topic I've come up with for the week. And this week is no exception. Let me see what's going on here with the... Is the stream a little bit laggy, or is my camera a little bit laggy? I can't really tell. Maybe it's fine. So let me see if I can say hello to the people who are here so far. Things might look a little bit different today. We'll talk about that in a minute. So I'd like to say hello to E9. Wow, my CPU is like fully 100%. Let me see what's doing it. Is it just OBS? Yes, mostly OBS. Wow, 300% CPU usage in OBS. That's amazing. I wonder if I have too many things going on at the same time now. Anyway, so hello to Minas Mazar, Jeff, someone who has squares for a name in my view, Super Kami Guru, Mjolnir, Valentino, Tasnomag, Dave, Valentino, Gun, Ashraz, Glenn, Andre, Itaiko, Eduardo, Fikri, Waxier Tape, not sure how you pronounce your name, Jeremy, Jesher, Typex122, Robert, nice to see you all. So yeah, we got a little hello to Ade, AD, little different stream today. We'll go into the details in just a minute. I got to clean up some stuff in the bridge though. It's a little bit annoying. All right, so let's get into it. Updates. Another experiment. We're doing some more experiments today. So as you can tell, we are back on both YouTube and Twitch today. Last week I was talking about whether I might stick around only on YouTube. Sorry, only on Twitch, but you know, I got feedback from people after the last stream, and I'm gonna have to upload the video to YouTube anyway after the stream. So I figure why not just multi-stream anyway, because then I won't have to go through the trouble of having to re-upload the recording of the stream to YouTube after the fact. It does still, you know, open the door to some possibilities. I'm not going to say too much because I don't want to, you know, attract trouble. But anyway, you know, we're bridging the chats between YouTube and Twitch, as we always do. You can see things going on there. However, we do have something that's new today, which is that I want to try a new thing, which is to have the main stream chat be in IRC. If you see on the screen, there's some chat pop-up happening in the overlay that is mainly coming from IRC. In fact, wow, if I scroll in Emacs, it hangs everything. And I start dropping frames, which is great. Anyway, the point being, IRC is driving everything. So the System Crafters Live channel on irc.libra chat is where the main chat comes from, and that's where all the stuff comes up on the screen. But then the Twitch chat is actually bridged over to IRC, and then the YouTube chat is bridged over to Twitch, which is bridged to IRC. So now you see chat from three places coming through IRC to the screen here, which is kind of interesting. And as you can tell, it does need a little bit of work because the Restream bot is I'm not like filtering out the name there. You know, I would, if I could show you on the screen me fixing it, I would do it, but I can't do it right now because I have everything set up in a different way. So anyway, yeah, if you're interested in using IRC as the way to talk on stream, then definitely hop on that channel. There's also a new thing. I put a new little page on the systemcrafters.net site, systemcrafters.net/live. If you go there, the Twitch stream is embedded. Oh, I'm getting an ad break, which is fantastic. But anyway, it tells you here that you can use MPV with YTDLP, or that's YouTube download or YouTube DL, the new name for that. And then just use MPV to watch the stream on Twitch. And nice, a little bit of inception here. Or on YouTube. You can use the YouTube link as well to watch the stream. But you can watch that using MPV, and you can also use this little plugin here to do live chat. So if I were to just say, David will chat test. If I join up here, this is actually going to send me to the IRC channel on Libra Chat. So if you don't have an IRC client, but you want to join the live chat via IRC, you can just use this client. It will connect from your browser to IRC. You can see all the people who are here. And then I can say hello there, and it should show up on the screen. Yeah, I see it on my end right now. So that's pretty cool, right? New thing. We'll see how that goes. I'm kind of opening up the door here to possibly, you know, streaming on my own at some point, like not on the big platforms. I don't know if it will work out that way, but yeah, we're just having a little fun here, experimenting with new ideas. But I thought it was kind of cool that you can get like a decent IRC client. Like, I don't host anything for this. This is actually an embed that's coming from the Kiwi IRC website. So this is all just like an embedded thing, and it just seems to work, which is pretty neat. So yeah, if you ever want to watch the System Crafters live stream, you can just go straight to this link instead of going to any of the other places that you might normally go to. The bridge is kind of interesting if you want to check out some Guile scheme code. This page is going to blind you. Sorry for that, but this is the scheme file that I wrote to set all this up. It uses the Guile IRC library. It uses the built-in web libraries from Guile, the SXML library, and that's about it. I tried a few different things. I tried to use fibers, and it didn't work so well for me, so I just went with plain threads. I also tried to use WebSockets for passing information to the overlay, and that didn't work like the way I thought it would. So I just ended up doing some more simple things. But this file is 182 lines. So I wrote a bridge to Twitch IRC and the server side of a overlay that gets displayed in OBS in less than 200 lines of code. And then if you go check out the JavaScript that actually does the overlay display, that's also about 65 lines of code. So not too much. Pretty cool. And in fact, I think the chat overlay looks way better than it did before, and it's actually a lot more readable because of the magic of CSS. So that's pretty cool, in my opinion. Let me see what's going on here. Oh man, anytime I try to scroll in Emacs, just not working so well. Katrika, sorry. Am I allowed to be here from Emacs? Yes, of course. I'm actually here in Emacs. I'm looking at the stream chat from Emacs at the moment. Coburg theme doesn't match the System Crafter stream. That's true. That's true. Man. Let's see. Fikri says, I believe this is the only place that uses IRC as live chat on stream. I think Andrew Tropin had been doing it first, but I don't know if he still does it. Definitely, he has done it. I watched the stream where he was writing code to integrate IRC into his stream, but I don't remember what he did. I just did it the way that I thought was the best to do it, and it seems to work pretty well. So, all right, I'm gonna read the YouTube chat. Maybe. Wow, I can't do anything. I'm really like testing the limits here. There's a couple. Okay, let's talk about what's different about the display of the stream, and let me know in the chat if the stream gets too laggy. I'm gonna have to cut some things down. So obviously the visuals are a little bit different. I kind of made a little frame for the stream and, you know, put some things that are like showing up down there somewhere, which is kind of cool, like to have a little bit of a news ticker type deal. And then there's stream overlays there, but it seems to not be working at the moment. I don't know if anybody's actually saying anything in chat or if it just got totally hosed. Oh, there it is. Yeah, now I see some chat coming through. Also, the screen that's coming from my other machine is coming through a web browser control too. So I think there's maybe too many things going on, and it's overloading the system. Fikri says, "Are you using OBS?" Yeah, I'm using OBS. One day I will be using my own custom code, but we're not there yet. All right. What else did I want to say about all of this? Someone in the chat, I missed it before, asked about Matrix. So I am still working on the Matrix to IRC bridge problem. Another week basically trying to rack my brain to figure out like what the best solution is for all this. And I'm looking into ways to host our own Matrix instance just so people who want to use Matrix can join the Matrix channel and have that be bridged to IRC. If you missed last week's stream, I was basically saying that the main matrix.org server can no longer bridge channels over to LibreChat IRC, where we have all of our System Crafters IRC channels. So that bridge has been broken for maybe like 2-3 months. And I've been looking for a solution because I want everybody to be able to continue using what they were using before to chat with the community. But because that bridge is broken, we have to find some other solution. So I'm thinking about possibly hosting my own Matrix instance, but using the normal Synapse server is not great because it's super heavyweight and not really good for smaller instances, I think, because you want to have like a smaller VM. You don't want to have to pay a lot to run a server. So I've been looking into a couple of other Matrix server implementation options and thinking about how to host those. And a lot of that led me to what we're going to talk about today in the stream, basically how to use Guix to host things a little bit more easily on cloud providers like Vultr, which I use, or maybe DigitalOcean or Hetzner Cloud or anything like that, where you just have normal standard VM images. Milner says, why switch from OBS? Because the more I can write in Scheme, the happier I am. But honestly, like the thing I don't like, OBS is incredible. It's a really fantastic tool. It works really well. It has enabled me to do a lot of things, which I think are really, really fun. However, because it's such an advanced tool, and like all the stuff that you do, setting up scenes, etc., have to write out to configuration files. Those configuration files are not very human readable or writable. You can definitely check them into source control, but it's not really a great experience. It's just hard to lock in a particular configuration for OBS and have it reproducible on multiple machines. So what I want is to have a code-based streaming solution where you could actually check in your configuration for how you stream with overlays and animations and everything else so that you actually do have a reproducible streaming situation. Now, that's something that one could possibly do with OBS. I don't really know if there's a way that I could maybe like generate an OBS config, but that seems like you're chasing the OBS config format at that point. Not so crazy about that. Jeff says, maybe your new framework laptop will handle streaming better. Yeah, whenever I can finally get one of those, I think it would handle it better, and I would be very happy to have one, but it's not going to happen anytime soon. They're not shipping to Europe, or at least they're not shipping to Greece, and also I think that they're backlogged, so I'll be having to wait till next year to get one of those. How's the video still looking on the stream? Is it still a little bit shaky? It seems to be streaming okay on my side, but I can't really tell for sure. Okay. So let's get into it then. So one big challenge of using Guix to deploy servers to the cloud is that most cloud providers don't provide Guix images. So you either have to like upload your own Guix image, which is fine. You can do that in a few other cloud providers, but it's not really convenient. Or you have to convert some other distro to Guix to be able to have like a fully Guix managed system so you can use Guix deploy, etc. But recently it occurred to me though that it might be possible to use Guix inside of a common foreign distribution on a cloud provider. So maybe your cloud provider has Debian or Alpine. Both of those actually have Guix in their package repositories. In Debian, you can just install Guix straight out. You don't have to do anything special. In Alpine, you have to turn on the Edge channel and add the community packages, but it is in there. You can actually install it and use it. So because that's possible, we're going to actually try to experiment with hosting some services inside of a Guix container, which is basically a way to deploy a Guix system into a container environment on a machine and expose that to the public internet, or more or less, and see if we can actually host some things inside of there. I feel like that's going to be a lot easier for hosting software from a Guix configuration, but not actually have to deploy Guix to a host. And I'm kind of like optimistic about it. I think it's going to work pretty well, but we actually have to experiment with it to see. So Gun says, doesn't Guix prefer the native installation instead of the distro package? Well, I don't know if it prefers it. I mean, Guix is a package manager plus configuration tool that can run on any of its supported distros. It doesn't really need Guix system itself. Kachka says, I can see my message almost instantly. Yeah, anybody who's in IRC, it goes straight through. So it's much faster. If you're on IRC, your messages will show up very fast in the chat. Figure says, is Guix compatible with Docker? Guix can generate Docker images, but there are some challenges with that sometimes. Like if you intend to just generate a Docker image to be deployed and you don't want to run Guix inside the image, then it's totally fine. You can actually do that. And that is another pretty reasonable option. And we might actually look into that another time. I don't know if we've done that on stream yet, but definitely that's something you could do. But I want to try this approach for right now because I think it might be a little bit more straightforward. Maybe. We'll see. So I was asking around about this on Mastodon this week, or the Fediverse, let's say. And Piotr Prins, if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, sent me to some work that the Guix Bioinformatics group has been doing. And Piotr is a kind of a long-time person in the Guix community. Maybe you've run across one of his GitHub repos that has a lot of Guix notes in it. I know I've seen that a bunch of times. But a person who knows a lot about Guix. So this is a configuration where they actually are deploying some of their projects through Guix containers on another system. So there's a simple configuration here. We may steal a little bit from this because it helps us sort of bootstrap the whole process. And then there's also some stuff here that's pretty useful for how you might run a systemd service that launches the container. So this would be a way where if you have a Guix container or Guix system configuration that you want to launch in a container, but you want to run everything in that container as a service in the host distro, like Debian, then you would be able to set up a configuration for that, which I think is kind of what you want to do. Gun says Kubernetes in Guix. I don't know if that's possible. Is there? Probably not. Gotta wait for the Guix thing to warm up. No. Kubernetes. No, it's not here. Okay, so what I want to try to do is set up a system configuration that allows us to deploy maybe a few different things. We'll see how far we can get with this. I mean, we have some time, so it might work. Like a basic website with Nginx, so just hosting some static pages, which really is kind of like the first step to hosting other things, because you might want to use Nginx as a reverse proxy that can take in requests and have a single place where you're doing your SSL certificate and then routing your requests to other services on the system. It's also pretty easy to host an XMPP server with Prosody with Guix. There's a pretty good service configuration for that, which I've actually used. And I've had an XMPP server running using Guix for about a year and a half now. I never use it. I set it up as an experiment. I just never really turned it off, but it does work. So that's something we'll experiment with in case you want to host your own XMPP server. Maybe we'll try setting up a ZNC bouncer for IRC. I don't think, is there a service for that? There may be a service for that, or there may not be. Otherwise, we can set something simple up for that. But point being, that we can try to set up a bouncer also if we have time. May also experiment with having an SSH server. It might be kind of interesting to see like how you can make a sandboxed SSH environment. Like maybe you want to set up something like a Pubnix server where you can have people come in and just have like their own little Linux Unix environment and do cool things with that. This could be a way to have like a sandboxed SSH environment for your users. So maybe we can check out that as well as we go. All right. So let's get started. Tycho says like Tilda Town. Yes, like Tilda Town, indeed. Yeah, I've been thinking a lot about making a Guix-oriented Pubnix server like that, but it just hasn't materialized yet. That would require running actual Guix on a machine, I think, because you need to be able to run the Guix daemon and manage the system configuration, or at least the way that I would want to do it. So before we could do anything, hey Fade, before we could do anything, we need to get a Debian environment running. And I didn't get time to do this before the stream, so we're gonna do it live. We're gonna see how well it works. What I'm gonna do is install or use a cloud image of Debian. So I'm not gonna try to install the full Debian OS. I'm gonna use something that is like what you would see on a cloud provider. I'm downloading, or I already downloaded this local QEMU virtual machine in QCal2 format. That's what QEMU can use. And we'll try to set up a VM from there and then see if we can get things going. I don't know how long this is gonna take. Hopefully it doesn't take too long because I don't wanna waste our time here. I found a page, if I can make this little ad go away, that tells you how to set it up. So let me see if we can get that going really quickly. First of all, let's pop open a vterm. And then we're gonna hop over, well, let's see, cd/downloads. I think the lsdeb, yeah, okay, so we got the Debian QCal2 image there. So it tells me to move the image to var lib libvirt folder. Is that necessary? I think I have user, let's see, var app, no. Var local, sorry, local var, no. Where's it? Lib, maybe it's here. No, not there, but it could be there. Is it necessary to do that, or can I just tell it what path I want? ACAP and No Beard, thanks for the heads up. It does kind of get worse at times. Let's see. Gun says, does Guix container mean container in the OCI sense or the Docker sense? Oof. Anytime I move my mouse on the screen, apparently, it makes this stream choppy. And Dave says, OCI is using container to refer to the image. Guix uses it to refer to the runtime. That's right. Man, it got super choppy, didn't it? Let me see if there's something I can kill. OBS is using 443% CPU at the moment. And the chat bridge is using 10% CPU. I should probably slow it down a little bit, maybe. Jeff says, maybe open the site in EWW kills the ads. That's a good suggestion. Let me see if I can do that. Excellent. That was a great suggestion. Thanks, Jeff. And Peter says, are Guix containers not closer to fancy Chroot? I think so. I don't think it's not like super isolated. I don't know if it's using LXC. Dave says, Guix containers do not run images. They pull in GNU store items and isolate the runtime environment. Chroot is just one part of it. Yeah. Oh, nice. The emojis actually show up in my chat overlay. I just noticed. That's cool. Okay, let me get back to it. So I've already downloaded the cloud image. Do we need the raw image too? Oh, okay. There was a second link for that. Maybe I should get that too. I don't see anything about the raw image that we need. Images, templates, confirm the current contents. I don't think that I can mess with my var path. No. Yeah, I don't see... I can just give it the full path. What's the point? I'll just do that. All right, QEMU image convert. All right, let me just copy this whole snippet here. Now, I should probably put that in Scratch. And do it a little bit more cleanly here. All right. Yeah, this is going to be fun. VM name, I don't care. Debian test, root disk. Okay. And let me see if that's actually going to work for me. Do I have a QEMU image? Yeah, okay. There we go. Oh, no, that's not the right path. Debian 12, no cloud. Okay, and I think that we should have Debian test root disk. All right, so let's do something else here. Make dir images, move. All right. Oh, apparently I already have a folder for that. Interesting. Now, if we go back to our EU buffer, resize the disk to the desired size. Let's see, info, blah, blah, blah. So go back to our Scratch. If I had time before stream, I would have done it then and not waste your time with it now. So Debian test. And I think that they used 30G. So I'm going to use, well, since Guix likes to eat up some space, let's just do 30G, eh? I think we can just pull this line up too. And I'll need to change that path too. Yeah. Wow. What did I just do? Don't forget to change path. Thanks, thanks, Jeff. I think the messages are coming through like super fast, which is great. I think it's the snappiest I've ever seen the chat. Scratch. Home, David Will, images. There we go. Image resized, cool. Benoit says it's fast, but it needs to stay on longer. Yeah, I'll tweak that setting. I've got it set to 10 seconds per message on the screen. Maybe it needs to be 15 or something. Hey, I fits, Pat. And Dave says earlier, Guix containers don't use LXC. It uses the Linux namespace interface directly. Cool. Slowly fading into oblivion. What happened? Oh, the messages? Yes. Fade says Deb Bootstrap is defined precisely to do the thing you're doing. Really? Create a Debian-based system from scratch without requiring... no, that's not what I'm trying to do. That's not really what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to get a VM running that doesn't use like a full desktop image. All right, so confirm, don't care. Vert install. Cool. Now let me go back to Scratch, copy, paste this. 2048, CPU's 2, that's fine. A VM name, Debian Guix. We'll use our disk image here. Home, David Will images. Blah, blah, blah. Debian. I don't know. Maybe I should leave that alone. I don't know what it's going to do. Still sounds like Deb Bootstrap. Really? Blah, 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 blah. Okay. Let's go. Please stop using it. Well, tell the guy who wrote this article. Docker run Guix. Fail to load module. Size must be specified for non-existent volume. Oh, did I not update that? Image not found, yes. Network default, great. I'm running the VM on a different machine than the stream, for sure. If anybody can tell me how to use dev bootstrap to shortcut this process, because I don't really think that that's exactly what the thing. Install a Debian-based system into a subdirectory of another already installed system. Does it work like a normal Debian system, though? Red Bull, yes. They're not sponsoring me. They'd better, though. Yeah, ThinkPads are pretty resilient. I'm running a pretty complex stream now off of a ThinkPad X1 Nano. It's struggling a little bit, but, you know, it's working. So that's kind of cool, right? It's just the Debian system laid out in a subdir. Yeah, I'd rather have like something that resembles more like a VM that you would run on a cloud host. QEMU list networks. I'm sure I can find that maybe myself. Only use, okay, gotcha. This stream is sponsored by Red Bull. No, it's not. Doesn't Debian have a cloud init image? I'm using that right now, and just, you know, should I just use regular small installation image net install and stop wasting our time? Well, that's what the QEMU2 or the QCal2 image is supposed to be. Like, you just, you know, are able to load it up. How big is this? Pretty small, I think. 700 meg. Install Vagrant for preparation. Yeah. I don't want to give anybody free publicity. osboxes.org. Oh, goodness. GDPR, everybody. Thanks. I love having to like swat away 15 pop-ups anytime I go to a website. Yeah, that requires running VirtualBox though, I guess. And I don't have that installed. Virt Manager, here we go. Is it gonna run? Does Virt Manager support Wayland? Well, it should run with X. No need for Vagrant with Guix. Yeah, you don't really need Vagrant with Guix. Virt install. There's some Virt install command. I should be able to use that, right? Provision new virtual machines. ISO. Debian ISO virt install. There we go. Graphical install. Let's see, CD-ROM. Disk size, VM. Okay, I still need to figure out what the net is. So I'm getting dizzy just running that around. Net default. Why is default not working? Maybe I should do this. Can't you create an image from a system config? Yeah, I know. QEMU, I don't really use it that often. We do want Debian OS. Because the whole point of this is to host stuff inside of an existing system. Let me just do this real quick, because I could have a problem with some of the things I have installed. So let me just try and see if Virt Manager works correctly. Because what we're trying to do is replicate the sort of cloud environment for Debian or Alpine. I mean, Alpine could also be an option here too if Debian ends up annoying me too much. Cool. I see some things happening. So anyway, to sort of recap what we're trying to do here, we're trying to set up a Debian VM so that we can install Guix in the VM, because Guix is in the apt package repository for Debian. And then with the Guix that we install, we're going to run a system configuration that sets up like a web server, other things like that. But that requires us to have a Debian VM first. I thought about like just setting one up on a cloud provider, but then that would require like doing things over a network and also going to a cloud provider on stream, etc. So I didn't really want to do that, but if worst comes to worst, I'll do it. Benoit says, I used Ubuntu's cloud image on XCPNG. I don't know what XCPNG is. And to run your Soju container inside it? Yeah, I'm thinking about running some things inside of it. Not this container just yet, but some other things. All right, apparently I have not updated QEMU in a while. Maybe this is why things are not working so great. Mjolnir says, feels like setting up with a cloud provider leads to a decent chance of leaking stuff. Yes, exactly. I don't like having to hide my screen, so I try to avoid it. All right, cool. So Virt Manager. There we go. All right, so now that I have an image, I should be able to create a new VM. If I can get my user session running. What's happening here? Oh, okay. Oh, cool. Great. There's that FreeBSD VM from the time that I joked that I was going to use FreeBSD, but then eventually I tried FreeBSD for real and it was actually pretty good. Images. You know what? Can we do that? Debian 12. Okay. Yeah. I already have a disk image. Whatever. Let's see if it works. Well, isn't that so much easier? No bootable device. Not a bootable disk. Okay. Quit. Oh, I didn't mean to go that far. Official, yeah, that's what I'm trying to use, actually. Let's shut down. I'm just going to force that off. Yes, I don't care. Delete it. Yes, delete that. Yes, delete that. Fine. Now let's go with an ISO. Do I have my downloads path? Yeah, so... format. ISO, Debian, great. Yeah, let's stick with 20 for now. It should be fine. Debian 12, user mode networking, okay. Let's go with that. Graphical install, I don't know, does graphical install work? Mjolnir says, is there a way to pop out the Libra chat instance? Do you mean like to have the chat show up on another screen? I don't know. There might be a button for that. GNOME boxes? Yeah, GNOME box is pretty good, but I haven't used it that much on Guix. I used to use it on Fedora a lot. Screenshot? What? Okay, whatever. I want the simplest install possible so we can get this done. Network auto config, cool. So while we're waiting on this, I certainly would like to hear if the screen is readable. Now this screen obviously is not readable, but the normal like Emacs environment, is it readable in the new stream layout? I just want to make sure that the text can be read, especially on like mobile devices if someone's watching this on a phone. Gun says yes, because I like the layout and I want to make sure that it can be read. Okay, cool, thanks. Sweet, root password. Shh, I'll tell you, it's crafter. And then crafter, yes. It's really the most secure password you've ever heard. Username for my account, crafter. So everything's just gonna be crafter. That's all fine. Good password, yeah, let's say crafter again, eh? Nobody hack my VM, please. Configure the clock. Yeah, it thinks I'm in America, so sure, Eastern time, whatever. Music volume's too low. I noticed that too. I don't know why. Use entire disk. Thank you. Yes. 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 Don't make me click. All right. Base system. Oh, I hope it didn't decide to install like a desktop environment. It didn't ask me, so. Benoit says, my password is the last 8 digits of pi. That's clever. Which last 8 digits? If you try to figure that out, the answer to that question, you might be trying for a while, maybe. Gun says, that's gonna need some CPU power. Yep. Pi is basically like an algorithm that just returns numbers forever. Oh boy. This is why I wanted to use like a pre-canned image so we wouldn't have to do the installation process. Mjolnir says, take your pick. Any last 8 digits work. That's a trick. Yes. So far, I'm pretty happy that the bridge is working. So long as everything doesn't use too much CPU, I think it's going to be nice. Fikri says, well, you could simply brute force it with 8 digits and eventually get it. I guess it probably wouldn't take that long. I mean, you would be going possibly until infinity, but at some point you'd have to find it. Dave says, animate the System Crafters logos in the background. That's a possibility. I don't know if I can do that with an image inside of OBS or if I have to make a video for that. It is possible, though. I didn't want it to be too distracting. I thought about doing that, but I figured it might be distracting if they were like rotating or scrolling. It would look cool, though. Do I want to scan more media? No. Spinning cogwheels, yes. We are spinning our wheels a lot in this stream, that's for sure. Proxy, no. Benoit says, the whole number is base 64 encoded before picking the numbers. Interesting. By the way, I forgot to mention it before. There is a let's say 70% chance of a Flux Harmonic stream this weekend. I should have mentioned that at the beginning of the stream, but there have been some developments in the land of Guile Hoot, and I would like to go back and revisit the Cybersol project and hack on it a little bit and see where we can get with it. But I'm not sure which day it's going to be. It might be tomorrow. If it's not tomorrow, then it's Sunday. So if you don't see me tomorrow, then it'll be Sunday. Andrew says, in your opinion, what's the best Linux for beginners? Debian, maybe. Benoit says the one your friend uses. That's actually a good point. Metrics. No. Mint, yeah, Mint is pretty easy to use. I don't want any desktop environment, but I would like a SSH server because I want to be able to SSH in. No desktop environment. No web server. Just the basics. Thank you very much. Debian's nice, but I don't know if the installation ISO comes with non-free firmwares built in now. It used to not. Trev says, we have to launch a system crafters energy drink so the ads can play during Debian installs. That's true. Nicholas says, Mandrake. I haven't installed Mandrake. Yeah, it's from 15 years ago. Yeah, I haven't installed Mandrake since probably, what year was that? Maybe 1999 or 2000? That's probably the last time I installed Mandrake. DJ Cthulhu says, Debian 12 has become more beginner-friendly. That would be good. I've heard they started putting non-free firmwares in the installation media, which I'm in favor of because if you want people to actually try to use free software and use a good distro, they need to be able to install it. So you kind of need to bend the rules a little bit with the distro packaging so that people can actually use it. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, do that. Trev says, what about that distro that no one ever uses but is always on the top of distro watch? MX Linux. Yeah, what is that? Is that a multimedia thing? What am I missing here? Manually primary drive. Why are you asking me this? Dev SDA. I already told you. It's the full disk. Mjolnir says, I don't know if trying to get someone into free software as they go into Linux is the best idea. I think it usually happens naturally if you're not just using Linux pragmatically. Yeah, eventually. What? Fatal error? Oh, hell no. Yeah, why are you asking me again? Oh, is this why? Because I hit the inner device manually? This is why they should assume that everyone installing the distro is not really paying attention to what they're reading. Niklaus says, I'm impressed by your ability to divide and recapture your attention across different tasks and topics. That's where energy drinks come in. And ADHD helps. But thank you. All right, so finishing the installation, my God, 1 hour later. To those of you who are watching the recording of this stream and you're just like banging the desk or the table or you know the dashboard of your car, wondering why the hell we're wasting a whole hour before we get to the point, yeah, this is what happens in a live stream. Sorry. The viewer was disconnected. Okay, root crafter. We're in. Now, can I actually SSH into this system? Gunn says he's playing chess on the other machine, not visible. Actually, I'm playing solitaire on the other machine. Carswell's Coat says MX Linux is kind of like a reborn Mandrake, but it's based on Debian. Interesting. Let's see. Does it tell me what the... address is Debian 12. Where is the properties thingy? What is this? Snapshots. These icons don't make any sense to me. Hardware details. There we go. Am I missing the network device? NIC. IP address. There we go. Is that it? Can I SSH to that? All right, let's go into vterm over here. SSH. A now. Root at. Come on. You're not going to do it, are you? It's going to time out. Okay. If I look at ifconfig, might I see it? No. Can you ping it? Let's see. Nope. So let's see. Oh, wait. Okay, yeah. 0 packets received. That makes sense. Hey, can you type in the screen? Hello? IF. There we go. ifconfig. What package would that even be in? Apt search ifconfig. There we go. Is that inet utils tools? May need to set up some libvirt QEMU stuff to get networking. Maybe. Man, what a waste of time. So apt install inet utils tools. I'm just going to take a wild guess. I can't see. Why can't I see the bottom of this? Can I full screen this? There we go. IP, Gun says, thank you. Oh, God. Okay. Sorry. Debian, what package? ifconfig. Net tools. Cool. Cool net tools. Go back into the full screen so we can actually see what we're doing here. Apt install. Yeah, it's telling me the same thing. 10.02.15. That must be the internal address. Maybe there's a networking thing that isn't set right, like Dave said. Link state, user mode networking. Okay, so should I like bridge the device? Or is that gonna be making things a lot worse? I guess the other question is there a, what you call it? Firewall. That could be a huge mistake, but... All right, you know what? Let's skip it. So, is this readable? It seems a little bit small to me. Oh, I need to apply these changes? No. Yeah, this is not really readable. Works? No, it doesn't work. Guix prompt. Okay. Trying to think of a better solution for this. IP address show. Yeah, we did see it just now. Like if you go back into the stupid full screen, IP adder show. Yeah, we got the same information. So it's 10.02.15. Okay, so bridge networking, maybe. I don't know what that means. Yeah, supply them. Okay. I can't see my mouse. It just keeps disappearing. Shut down. Shut down. Bridge helper's not a suitable. No such file or directory. Yeah, it's not working with that. So port forwarding. See him, Yelner. Okay, so it is user mode networking, it seems, and then they forward the port. Can I set that somewhere in the UI, or do I have to go? Hey, Alex. All right, so QEMU is not going to work for us. Let me see. Let me just do something real quick on the other machine. This might affect the quality of the stream for a moment. Damn. Let's just think for a moment. So here's what we'll do. Let's skip the Debian idea for the moment, okay? Because that's just a rat hole, and we've already lost an entire hour on that. So what we'll do is try to set up an actual Guix container configuration and just run it on the local system and experiment with actually running things inside of Guix container. And then if we get something working locally, then I can try to set up a VM somewhere and run it there. The point is that you should be able to do this on another distro because all you need is Guix installed, and then you can use Guix system container on those machines for sure. So let's just get a system config started. I'm gonna pull up that informatics config that I mentioned before. Gun says VM networking can be a nightmare. Yes, no user here says, I remember having to fight with this as well. Unfortunately, I no longer remember the solution. That's the problem, is that you have to do these things so infrequently that you never remember what the solution is. And that's the annoying part. Okay, so we just need this basic OS configuration that has all the extra gunk ripped out. So I'll just go in here, container config, SCM. We'll just drop in this operating system, host name, crafter host. UTC is fine for the time zone. Blank bootloader configuration, base file systems, no firmware. Don't need any packages inside the container, except for core utils. You kind of do want that, just in case. DHCP. I don't know what this BNW configuration was from their stuff. Okay, so BNW service type, let's get that out of there. Hello, Elijah. Yes, it's been just a crap show up until now. All right, so we do want DHCP client service type. That should give us a basic container. Let's pull up vterm here, and then Guix system container. If I can just remember the parameters for this. I know we need -- network. And we just need the file for the config. So network, container, config, sem. Okay, so we do need some imports. What can I steal here? Just GNU, maybe? DJ Cthulhu says, I'm strictly bare metal, yeah. All right, DHCP client service type. So this is, let's get this Copilot off. Use service modules, networking. Oh. Here we go. Now we're getting somewhere. We'll see how far that somewhere is. We're gonna pull down a whole bunch of Linux Libre stuff. Elijah says, I fought with libvirt many times. Bridge mode will work if you're okay with setting up a Linux bridge device. Yeah, I really don't want to get into that business right now. There's always a possibility of running Debian in a Docker container, but the problem with that is I think that the Guix daemon does not work inside of a Docker container. So, well, if you run it in privilege mode, it could work. That might have been a better way to go about this, but it's not really replicating the experience that I was hoping to show. So, all right, we're almost there. Trev says, I wonder if the FreeBSD one would work. The Ubuntu one would work, but it may be very out of date. So it may not have the Guix package. I would have to update or upgrade Ubuntu to a newer version, and that would probably take some time. All right, so did it run the container, or did it just create the container? Because I'm definitely not inside of a container at the moment. This is probably a script. Fport, do I have to sudo this? Yeah. Cool. So, okay, there's a way to get inside the container using sudo Guix container exec to get to a bash shell. All right, so we are currently running a container, but it doesn't really do anything at the moment. We could try this and see what happens. Let's see if I use this command. I'm going to open up another vterm, and then I'm going to use that to log into the, let's see, no such file or directory. Oh, I don't have bash installed. That would probably help. I don't really need it though. Sort of defeats the purpose a little bit. So what we like to do here, let's set up an Nginx service and have a basic HTML file. I feel like I have a little bit of deja vu here. Have we done this before in another stream? Like something like this? Website index.html, HTML, head, title. Now we're going to learn how to write HTML. Yes, thank you. There we go. There's a little test page. Yes, I want to create the directory. Snippet. Just close the HTML tag for God's sake. All right. That should be a working page. Faye says, in theory, in practice, there would be issues. Well, that's always the case, right? Okay, so back to container config. Let's go to the info and look up Guix. And I want to look up services. Boom, 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 boom. Web services. There we go. HTTPD Nginx. All right. Let's just, wait, hold on. Try files. In addition to adding server blocks to the service config, this service can be extended by other services to add service blocks. So, root try files. What does try files mean? All right. So the basic Nginx service type, server name, root. Okay, so the root path. Let's go to the services list. I'm gonna drop in this Nginx service type. I gotta slurp it up in here. Okay, so Nginx service type, Nginx configuration, server blocks. Is there a way to set the port on that? Let's go back here. Port, listen, default 8443 SSL. You try this. Nginx server configuration, and where is that? Server block. Oh, is that it? Okay, right there. Boom. We'll go 8,000. Elijah says, try files as patterns for translating a URI path to a file on your file system. Okay, cool. I don't know if we need all this stuff here, but that's fine. Let's just leave that in to have it be port 8,000. Obviously, in a production HTTP server, you would want it to be 80, but we're just playing around here. Okay, so back to info. That root folder. Can that be a file-like object? The root of the website. Doesn't say, does it? Let's just reach in here. Because sometimes the code is better. All right, server root. That's not it. That's HTTPD. Okay, here we go. Doesn't say what type it is. Just string. Emit server config. How does it treat root here? Okay, it's just a plain path. I think there's a way to do something with locations. No, not locations. Okay, try files, those files which exist checked specified order. There's got to be a way to pull in actual file content, unless I'm supposed to just give it a path and like already set it up myself. Is this showing me something? File append? No. I feel like I've done this before at some point. Is there usually a /srv folder? Path of the file? Well, I need to put it somewhere. Well, yeah, sure. I mean, I could give it a path directly to the file, but I want it to be something reproducible that can be deployed. I mean, we could start with that and see how far we get. So root could be, we don't even have the file there yet. It needs to be baked into the config. All right. So there's also somewhere like a files. Special files service. Yeah. Yeah, but this is in a container and the file has to be in the system somewhere. I think I might be able to use this to copy files in. I don't know if that's the way you're supposed to do it, but that's what we're going to try. Special file service type, copy our web server files into the container. And let's see, serve. Now, this is not going to be the same thing. Is that what it is? HTTP? Yeah, systemcovers.net. What am I cooking? I'm trying to make a Guix config here. So, local file, is that right? Site files, and then the local path would be, what is it? Website. And I need to pull in Guix G expression for that, or is that without a hash? Sorry, a hyphen. All right, let's get rid of that. Let's see if this works. Who knows? Live demo is the fabric of our lives, yes. All right, let's kill the container. Oh, I don't want to do that. Is there not a way to execute the container immediately? Or is it just a... All right, so sudo. This is a really cool thing to do. All right, never mind. Is website a folder? Yes, it's a folder. Does it not work like that? Invalid field specifier. Is it because of a local file? Oh, should I use plain file? Let me go back into... Oh, recursive, thank you very much. I still did something wrong though. Local file. I see, okay. Programming, oh, come on now. System config, top, index. Programming index, local file. There you go. Name recursive. Okay. File and name. So it's a little bit backwards. I don't know if that's the one that it's actually complaining about. Turn in the object representing local file to add to the store. This object can be used in a G expression. File is a literal string denoting relative file name. It's looked up relative to the source file where it appears. If file is not a literal string, okie dokie. Oh, I need to get the question mark on recursive here because this is scheme after all. Invalid field specifier. I must have done something wrong. Yeah, Shruz. And hello to Dean. Dean says, tried Guix with 9 Guix on local laptop today. Strange thing, but the text-based installer said it couldn't reach the internet, but from the shell-based installer, it was fine. Sometimes the graphical, quote-unquote graphical installer lies about that. Benoit says, I have a VM ready for you, just need your public key. Oh boy. I need to yeah, I could probably, like, how would I get it to you? Ubuntu Cloud Innet. Why is recursive quoted? Is it quoted? It can be quoted. It's fine. Actually, it's not quoted. This hash thing is what keywords look like in Scheme, or at least in Guile. Local file. It's not my services list. Oh, but is that gonna be? That's a great point, Elijah. That's just a great point. I don't think it's gonna work though, will it? Okay. Yeah, you're right. That is a wrong field. Nginx service type, unbound variable. Let's put web in the service modules list. Man, it's going great today, isn't it? All right, now it seems to be doing something. Let's see. If I were to go to localhost 8000, says it can't be reached. Did I run it with network? Oh, I haven't rerun the container yet. I need to... There we go. Duplicate listen in Nginx conf. So it did actually take the Nginx conf. Probably not gonna work though, is it? How would I have a duplicate listen though? Unless this whole thing here is just causing major headache. Can I just take some of this stuff out? Still says a duplicate listen. I would love to be able to see that. Actually, I can see that because this is my store, so I can just like load up that file. Hey now. Ugh. All right, 16. There's 2 listens. Doesn't seem right, does it? And yeah, let's see. I'll leave this star one in. Also, well, no, let's do it this way. All right, this time it seems happy. Oh, there it is. So we did host a simple Nginx server built into a container configuration on local machine, which is cool. So that's a good starting point. We at least have, you know, a very simple static page. We've baked the files into the container, so it is possible for that to sort of run standalone from the local files that you have in case you were to sync the latest versions or something. Your container will still be running the one that got plugged into it. Cool, so that works. We said we wanted to try to set up an XMPP server. The guest question is, can I try an XMPP server? Maybe I could do it with Emacs Jabber, so we will try that too. Maybe I should steal my own configuration. So github.com/systemcrafter/crafter chat. Let's see, server.sem. Oh, I must not have pushed that configuration back to this repo at any point. Lovely. And that's not on this machine. That's okay. Let's go into info. The info browser is not still running, is it? Okay, now prosody. Here we are. Nice little copy paste config there, I think. Go into our configuration here as well. Cool. Let me, what's the thing for that? There we are. Don't tell myself. Sneak bot snack. We don't have sneak in this channel. Wait, what? What is sneak doing here? Unless that's from another room. You know, I've had some weird things happen with the combination. Yeah, that wasn't in this room. The combination of RCIRC with Soju. Sometimes messages from one channel leak into another channel and you can't tell that it didn't come from there. Yes, it's from another room, Dave says. That's super weird, dude. That's one reason why I'm a little bit reluctant to use Soju. I don't know if it's Soju or if it's RCIRC who's interpreting an IRC message wrong and putting it in the wrong buffer. But there's some weird crap going on there. Okay. There's a prosody service. Let's just see if we can launch it. Hey, why can't I get out of there? There we go, finally. Okay, the system config. Okay, yeah. Is that messaging? These little use service modules, use package modules are super nice because you don't have to remember all of the, or type out all of the module paths. syslogd, okay, so we need syslogd also. Let's go up to services. Is there like a logging? There's log rotation. There's syslog configuration. There must be a syslog service type. Jeff says he created a Vagrant file to install Debian 12 and install Guix when it's provisioned. And Gunn says Vagrant is Ruby. We're using Lisp. Benoit says I don't have that problem with ERC and Soju so far. Yeah, it could just be a RCIRC problem. You have to say that slowly so it doesn't just get jammed up in your mouth. Syslog service type. Give me a copy pastable config. What module is that in anyway? You know, we'll just go to the code. Here it is. This is in base.scm. Yeah. So then if I go back, well, I shouldn't need that, right? Base should be pulled in by default. So all I need is just to put the syslog service in. So in here, I will have a, whoops. Let's see if that makes it happy. Okay, that did the trick. cool. I don't remember the port that these things are supposed to run on, but package install Jabber. Okay, that seems relatively recent. Maybe it'll work. Oh, package archive, package refresh contents. Haven't run that in a while. Eric says, I can share my Prosody config in a few minutes. We don't really need like a full one. We just want to see that it actually does work. And Benoit, I might take you up on the VM that you got set up. I just need to get some things working first. Thankfully, we're actually making progress now, so maybe we can actually prove in the end that this will work. While we're waiting on that, oh, yeah, now we're good, right? Jabber. Okay, there we are. We got a Jabber client installed in Emacs now. Jabber Connect. Well, I don't actually have one. Jabber, is there like a register? How would I... Thanks, Ashraz. I made that template probably in an hour this afternoon in Inkscape. I had the thought and just kind of put it together. And also the stream thumbnail for today was made in Inkscape as well. I basically copied what I was doing in the GIMP over to Inkscape. And now Inkscape makes it like 100 times easier. However, there is a little bit of a weird rendering artifact with the text. It has some lines in it for some reason, which I think it must be a bug somehow. But yeah, I've got one big SVG file with the stream overlay and the thumbnail right next to each other, and I can just set the title on both of those and export the PNG files for both. So now that I can have a up-to-date overlay every stream. That's kind of cool. Okay, let's see. I need to see what the default XMPP port. 5222. We don't have TLS going on, so let me just telnet. Can I telnet to 5222? bterm2 telnet. Open localhost 5222. Well, it connected. Foo. Ha, okay. We got some XML back, so that definitely means there's a server running. Jabber.el register. Can I create an account? Or, Prosody create user. There we go. If I can get in with a shell, Prosody add user. Okay, Prosody control. Now, I think two things I need to do. Well, three things. I need to put bash here. I also need to put Prosody so that the Prosody control is in the profile so I can run it at the command line. All right. And now I should be able to kill that previous container in vterm and run it again. Okay, we got a little error somewhere. Did I forget use package modules? Is it in shell? Bash, okay. Bash messaging. There we go. Daniel says, you map control to caps lock, right? Have you also remapped escape, or what do you press for getting into normal mode? I actually press Control G. I've remapped Control G to exit insert mode in evil mode. Okay, so we got the container running again. Let me get this little command here to hop over into another shell. Whoops. Okay, cool. Prosody control, good. Add user, crafter at localhost. Localhost is not listed in configuration file. User will not be able to... Oh. I don't want to do that right now. All right. What did I say? xmpp.systemcrafters.net. Password, crafter. Crafter. Great. Now, Jabber Connect. Crafter at xmpp. Ooh, that's not going to work though, is it? Because it's going to try to resolve that host. Let's see. Okay. Let's just fix that then. And we don't need the multi-user chat. I don't even know if this is possible. Can you do? It's not going to work anyway. All right, we're just going to try localhost this time. You would obviously not do this in a real environment. Gun says we're mapping Control G. That's improper use of the emergency brake. It also does normal Control G business. Let me just pull it up. Dot files, emacsd, modules core, Control G. Where is my config for that? Is that in DW evil? Yeah. Control G. So, okay, in evil insert state map, I map Control G to evil normal state. But then whenever you're in normal state, Control G does the normal Control G for Emacs. Jeff says you could just update your etc. host file appropriately. Yeah, I would have to update my Guix config for that probably. Okay, so container's running. Let's go grab the command because I think that the container ID is different every time, in theory. Oh, crap. Yeah, all right, so prosody control add user crafter at localhost. Oh. Typo. Crafter. All right, and now Jabber Connect. Oh, start TLS negotiation failed. I've seen this before. I don't know exactly what the problem is, but this jabber.el does it sometimes. If Case was here, he could probably tell me what the problem is. But anyway, the point being is we can see that the Jabber server is actually working. You can get inside the container and add a user. Okay, so that proves that point. What else did I say I wanted to do? Is there a ZNC service, or was I imagining that? Why isn't that working? Messaging. Whoops. No. Yeah, there's no ZNC service, it seems. That's okay, though. Caps lock G with one hand. Don't you have to stretch your pinky? No, because my pinky stays where it sits. My index finger is the one that reaches. And it's not that much of a problem. Okay, and back in the original part of the stream, I said SSH server. We could do that. Let's see, SSH service type, open SSH service type. Let me go to the info manual for that though. Up services. I'm sure Oshrox can tell me a much faster way to do what I'm doing. Permit root login, okay. We don't care about X11 forwarding. Permit root login. I'm sure that true is what I want here. You do not want this in reality. I suppose I could create a user for myself in the configuration if I wanted to have a different user. Don't need authorized keys. What else is in? If it's T, they are allowed. If it's the simple prohibit password, okay, allow empty passwords. Blah, 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 that should be fine. What's my XMPP address? I don't have one at the moment. I mean, this server that I have right now is not on the public internet, so you're not gonna be able to send anything to it. Okay. So, let me put it on a different port so that it doesn't conflict with my current machine configuration. Port number. 33. I suppose. And then vterm, the first vterm, kill this, run it again. Something wrong with the config. Do I need... Wow, nice stack trace. How old is my system? What does it say? 20 days? That's not so bad. Open SSH service type. Which, oh, SSH. All right, cool. Dead Cells board game. Dead Cells board game? They made a board game out of that? Wow. TM index. Yeah, maybe that doesn't work with evil keys. All right, so now we should be able to SSH into the container. vterm2 SSH localhost P33. Connection refused. Let's look at the output. Did it complain at all? I saw something about a certificate. Generating new host keys, okay. Hey, data monoid. Interesting that it did not actually work. Let me try another port. Something that's not so low. Okay. Yes, I would like to continue. I need to put root at. Forgot. Do I have a password? No, I never set a password. Enter? No. Okay. There's no password for the root account, which is actually probably what we want. I think with a system config, wow, what did I just do? Okay. Let's see, go table of contents. I think what, GU? Oh, GT? Cool. What am I looking for? User? User accounts. Password. Okay, so I can set up a user account. Initial password. Do I need to do that? I've forgotten. This needs to be a list. I don't really need that, do I? Do I have to crypt it? Fine. Yes, Guix Time Machine, Guix Describe, and Guix Pool. Yeah, that's basically what I would do for this too, for a reproducible deployment of a config for services that are being hosted somewhere. Is I would get the channel description, pinned channel description with all the commit hashes in it, and I would deploy that along with the configuration so that you can use Guix Time Machine to load up that specific channel config and deploy what's in there. That way you can have very reproducible application deployment. You don't have to worry that some software has been updated and your configuration won't work with it. Okay, now let's see if we can go as a crafter at localhost p3333. No, 2222. Crafter is the password, and permission denied. Anyway. Oh. Whatever. I think that maybe there's some other SSH config that needs to happen. Authorized keys. Password authentication. Oh, it's true by default. Anyway, I mean, we've shown a few of the things we wanted to do, which is cool. Benoit, let me see if I can actually join up with the live chat. I can just jump right in here. There you go. I don't know if it's not an RSA key, it's this other key. Uh-oh. We'll see if Benoit can pick up on that. I might be able to, that's a fingerprint. Yeah, that's exactly what I want. I want him to add my fingerprint, my public key to the server so I can SSH into it. It seems a lot shorter, right? But that's the public key. So anyway, I think this is what I'll try to do for hosting things in the near future. I'll tell you what I'm trying to do. If I can remember the name of it. There is a matrix server written in Rust. I don't want to use it because it's written in Rust. I want to use it because it should be simpler to use than Synapse. Here we are. Thanks, Benoit. Did I type that right? Yeah, I think it's right. Timing out. Fingerprint is for allowed hosts. For authorized users is the pub key. Yeah, it's a short pub key because it's ED and not RSA. Can't ping either. Yeah, firewall. That's okay. Nicolas says, I don't want to use it because it's written in Rust. No. What I'm saying is, I'm not using it just because it's written in Rust. I don't have a problem with Rust. There's no problem with Rust. The point is that it's supposed to be sort of more minimal and less resource intensive, which is good. Yes, Benoit, you have an effective firewall, which is good whenever you're basically broadcasting your host on a live stream. All right, so conduit. This thing needs to be built. Has a lot of cargo packages that need to be packaged for Guix. I mean, obviously I could download a binary and try to run that in Guix with the right binary patching, but better to try to build things whenever you have the source code. I could try to run Guix import on the source and pull it in. It even has a Nix flake, so I could probably just like copy what the Nix flake is doing to some degree. But point being, this is something I want to try to host, and I would use a Guix container for that. Oh, one thing I did want to talk about actually, while we have a couple moments, and some of you may have opinions on this, if I can get it to go there. Guix containers versus Docker Compose. And I'll try to SSH to Benoit's machine at the same time. No ping, but that doesn't mean anything. Still seems to be not allowing me in. So there are two approaches you can take whenever you're trying to self-host software in a way that is more or less reproducible and not too much of a hassle. Like you don't have to go install the software and do a large amount of configuration yourself. One of them is using Guix, but it sort of assumes that you have a service configuration already, or service configuration types already in Guix for the software that you want to use. Certain things don't have service config types, like let's say ZNC, the IRC bouncer. There's not a way to just go ahead in a Guix config and set up ZNC without doing a little bit more of a manual job there, unless you want to write the service for Guix and contribute it, which I think people would be very happy about if you did that. For most software that you would want to host, there's going to be a Docker container, and a lot of times there's going to be a Docker Compose config that will help you set everything up for things like, let's say, the database that it needs or any kind of caching layer, etc. So Docker Compose almost feels like more convenient in a lot of ways because many projects are already producing their own Docker containers and Docker Compose, example configs. To start using it. Like let's say, for instance, PeerTube or this conduit thing that I just showed you. I think it has a Docker Compose config. A lot of things that you would want to host that aren't so easy to set up yourself have Docker containers. So why would I want to use Guix containers over Docker Compose if it's just so easy to go pick those things up? Well, that's a good question that I ask myself, and I ask all of you as well. What is the benefit of Guix over Docker Compose in that case? Obviously being able to write your configuration in Scheme is cool, but I think at least with Guix, a system configuration can be deployed in a number of ways, including to a Docker container. So if you wanted to deploy your Guix configuration into a Docker environment, Peter says, why doing it easy if it could be hard? Exactly, right? I mean, isn't that the whole reason we're here, is that we'd rather do it the hard way? Dave says, I still have it on my long to-do list to write the Docker Compose equivalent for Guix. The Docker images are black boxes. Yeah, I mean, with a Docker image, you're basically setting some environment variables and running it and hoping that it works. But it's kind of nice, it does work. So Ideally, you would use Guix to configure such a system instead of Docker Compose, but you do need to have a lot more coverage for packages and service configurations for the different software that you might want to use. And it's quite hard, at least it seems to be quite hard, to package things like PeerTube or any other software that depends on a web layer, especially if it's using anything from the Node.js ecosystem, like tools for building CSS or using like Babel.js or something. Mainly because, Node is there, but I think that because of the level of granularity of the NPM ecosystem, it's kind of a nightmare to pull in every single NPM package that something would depend on as a Guix dependency. I don't really know for sure if that's the case, but Go may have a similar problem because Go has some level of granularity as well because it's so easy to publish Go packages. Also, Rust probably has a similar problem, but maybe NPM is like an order of magnitude worse. But anyway, my point, rolling back, is many things that require some web interface component that is more complicated than just basic static HTML pages is hard to package in Guix. So it's harder to have those things in Guix. However, I would really like to have them in Guix. I would love to be able to host a PeerTube instance and configure it with Guix instead of having to go do it some other way or use a Docker container. So short term, like if you really want to get something off the ground and just start hosting it today, Docker and Docker Compose is probably the quickest way to do it because you're going to find examples in a lot of places on how to do that. And many projects are set up so that their Docker containers actually are pretty maintainable. Dave says, Docker architecture is complicated because, again, it's all a black box. Yeah, you could say that Guix is complicated enough that it could be considered a black box until you know enough about Guix, but I don't know. Maybe we can solve that problem by education. Dave says, but with Guix, the system understands the full dependency graph and can just link the necessary store items in. That's another cool thing, is being able to use the Guix store. So I guess what I'm trying to say is I would like to personally, and also with the help of the community, try to package and create service configurations for more cool stuff that people would want to self-host. We already have a really good service config for Prosody, which means you as a Guix user could go and self-host an XMPP server pretty easily, as we saw today. There's a lot of stuff you have to add to it to make it better than just plain XMPP, but it is possible to go do that. It would be nice to, I think there's like IRC server service configs in here. So you can set up an IRC server, the Nginx config. Nginx config is a little bit weird and not so obvious how to use it correctly, but it is possible to use it to host a website in a container. What else would you want to do? PeerTube, maybe like a Mastodon instance or some other Fediverse server implementation. What else do people use these days? Maybe something like Nextcloud, but not Nextcloud itself, because Nextcloud is pretty heavy. It'd be nice if there was another kind of like free software alternative to Nextcloud that wasn't so heavy. There probably is something out there like that. Benoit says, try one last time. Oh, all right. So let me just say yes here. Permission denied, public key. All right, so it didn't like my public key. That's fine. Benoit, thank you. It might have worked. But I think we're at the end of the stream anyway. Seems like it's firewalls all the way down. Yeah. Eric says you can configure Prosody in Fennel Lisp. Yeah, since it's a Lua configuration, you could definitely use Fennel if you wanted to. But honestly, there's no point in making it more complicated in the end. SSH VVV. Well, I think it's pretty clear what we did. Am I going to be doxing Benoit if I use VVV on this? It's going to spit out too much information. My prompt is all busted and it does really weird stuff. Woo! Offering public key. Weird. Yeah, you should just trash it. Okay, so what will I do? I can put the configuration into the show notes. Let's see. Whoops, not SCH, just scheme. Let me do that again. SC. Hey, why does SC not work? Oh, SC. There you go. Cool. There it is. So if anybody wants to, you know, try the same thing out. And there you go. So you should be able to try that out yourself as well. Tycho says, I use a Gemini protocol. Glad Geeks has a Gemini protocol server. Yes, it's cool that it does. I haven't really used Gemini in a while, but yeah, it is definitely possible to host a Gemini server with Guix, which is really sweet. All right, I got to run. So if you're interested in seeing some more Guile scheme hacking in the context of a web-based game, keep an eye out for a post for me on Fediverse this weekend. I'll be streaming either today or tomorrow, about 70-80% sure. And we'll be hacking with some new updates to Guile Hoot and see how far we can get with that. And then we'll be back with another stream next week. Let me know if you have any comments about like the new chat setup, the new stream layout, anything like that. Let me know in IRC or in Matrix, but I haven't really been checking Matrix as much this week because I've been trying to get the IRC resuscitated to some degree. Or on, you know, on Fediverse, you can let me know there as well. And let's see, next week, what will we talk about? Maybe something Geeks related again. We'll see. I'm about to start working on a series on Guile Scheme, basically a tutorial series on Guile Scheme, but with a practical focus, and probably going to be doing stuff directly with Geeks. So I think that it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to getting back to doing some videos again. So I think this is going to be a good series to get back into. Benoit says authorized keys now successfully installed, should be working at the very last moment. Let's see if I can get into the server. Passphrase. If I can type it right. I'm in there. SC. Jeez. Well, let's see. Geeks is in here. Sudo apt install Geeks. Am I an admin? What is my password? We tried. Thanks, Benoit. I appreciate it. Okay, Nicholas says, prompt alerts some more Guile Scheme. Please include some goblins. Yeah, we'll get there at some point in the future. I'll be making videos about goblins and Hoot as well, because those are things that I want to promote people to use, and you can't do that unless you show them how to use it. Cool. Let's cut it here. I hope you all have a great weekend, and until next time, or until tomorrow or the next day when I see you again, happy hacking. We'll see you. Thanks for being here.